I would like to respectfully agree with Dr. Conrad Vine, though he is part of the Trinitarian Seventh-day Adventist Church. I respect his public declaration about what happened on 2019, the great worldwide mandates and a purview of what is to come when Sunday rest will be enforced. So, Dr. Conrad Vine, through this SDA digital media channel, James showed this statement by this Trinitarian member of the church, and I agree. It's not only that Ted Wilson and all of the General Conference administrators should resign because they had conspired to join the government, but the General Conference should be dissolved because of its apostasy, of its moral degeneracy, or there's no more moral ascendancy with Ted Wilson holding on to power, holding on to Trinitarian doctrine, holding on to apostasy, and worst, siding with the government, affirming the mandates and lockdowns. Here is the video.
Well, there must be accountability, though. There must be accountability.
I agree with James. Ted Wilson should be accountable. He should be investigated. The millions that, and perhaps the benefit that all the administrators receive in this during this tragic moment in the history of mankind, where the devil was not only worshipped, but the devil ruled the world. So Ted Wilson and all the General Conference administrators, they are a disgrace, and they should be ashamed of themselves. They have abused the trust of the Trinitarian Seventh-day Adventist. And using the name Seventh-day Adventist is a mockery of our pioneers. The pioneers were non-Trinitarians, and they would not be where the General Conference decided to be today.
Never happen again. And also restitution has to be made. Oh yes, I don't know what that's going to look like, but restitution in one form or another has to be made to these families. This is one case study, okay?
This is not a case study. This is the effects of apostasy and the spirit of Satan working in the hearts and minds of those greedy, avaricious General Conference led by Ted Wilson. They should not be given support or trust. Why? They perpetuate not only error, but they will unite with Babylon to enrich themselves, of course, and their families and their cronies, but also to deceive the 4 million still holding to the name Seventh-day Adventist. Mind you, Seventh-day Adventism began as a pure Bible-based church. They rejected Trinity, Sunday rest, and rejected the world's mandates and cultures. They were the only ones shining as light and salt of the world, non-Trinitarian SDA. So even though these brothers of mine, we have different views on the church history and theology, I affirm the pioneers. We agree that the General Conference is so corrupt and so apostate. Perhaps they may not call it apostate, but I do. That they are not worthy of any penny or support from those innocent, that they are conditioning and controlling minds of all those four more or less million members, at least active in the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
And I think what he's about to say next in the video, I have to say I agree with. Let's keep listening.
This is what happens when our GC administrators make illegitimate decisions, overstep their defined boundaries of delegated authority, and assume the right to trample on liberty of conscience.
They had trampled liberty of conscience and had destroyed many lives and jobs. this General Conference, Ted Wilson, should be put in jail, should be imprisoned, should be persecuted. He should not only resign, but his actions, because of the deaths of so many Seventh-day Adventists due to these jabs, he should be persecuted on earth. But I know it will not happen. He will be persecuted the second death. And that is why there will be justice at the end.
That man's request for a religious exemption being honored, he would still be working today. But his life was being destroyed by the actions of those administrators. Personally, I probably this statement will get me into trouble. I believe that every General Conference administrator who was party to that reaffirmation statement should resign immediately because they overstep their authority with catastrophic impact on the lives of innocent Adventists worldwide. Wow.
I agree with Dr. Conrad Vine, and he is a man with this, at least with a conscience inside the Trinitarian Seventh-day Adventism. As a former pastor myself, I could not stomach the corruption. I've been complaining to the General Council of the General Conference Corporate Church, and I was just directed to go to my own conference and settle the matters there. I know justice is not served. The corruption, if you are a keen observer of Vatican, the corruption in the Vatican, Seventh-day Adventist is not far away. And it's probably worse because there's many undermining and underhandling, under the table deals that are happening. Case in point, 2019, the worldwide lockdown and pandemics.
Statement. There goes a statement. Every leader in the Adventist church need to hear this statement.
And I agree. And I would like to amplify this, even though I don't agree with James with his view on God. I agree on this particular revulsion, or I should say awakening. The General Conference should be dissolved because they are apostate and they are scheming the billions of dollars, well, not only to the stock market and to control the pensions and retirement funds, but they have destroyed the trust of those people. During this time, I was also a Trinitarian, and I was also not given the religious exemption, and I lost work, money, and everything, even to the point that I'm questioning why my church is acting this way. And I understand later on that the church that I served for a generation in my life acted this way is because they don't have respect for the Bible's revelation of who God is, our pioneers' principles, and they are selfish and lording it over. And so all General Conference leaders, administrators should be held accountable. They should be persecuted. They should be defunded. They should be held accountable. I call for them to be legally persecuted because of the many lives lost and many workers that had been terminated. But I know it will not be, and they will say, oh, that is, we are Christians, we are forgiving, we should not sue each other. Well, they did destroy, and they did destroy lives, and they destroyed livelihoods. Many relatives had died. Many of my relatives had died because of the jabs and because of 2019 and 2020. I cannot say furthermore because I will be banned and blocked. One more strike and I'm out. So I don't want to waste the effort. But in any way, the General Conference is indeed a corrupted system. It's like the Vatican place in the name of the Seventh-day Adventist.
Who has signed on to the deal, whether they've agreed or disagreed. Every leader needs to hear this. And for those who've agreed with the statement, the official statement saying that you cannot use religious liberty, there it is. That little statement right here. Because of that statement, if you've agreed and signed on to the deal, Dr. Conrad Vine is saying, you might as well resign. you might as well resign.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church is in consultation with the health ministries and public affairs and religious liberty departments, the corrupt departments of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, is convinced that the vaccination programs that are generally being carried out are important for the safety and health of our members and the larger community. Therefore, claims of religious exemption, they will not honor and accept. That is, I'm sorry, I'm just paraphrasing. Pardon the evil enticements and the enticements of the world. We don't subscribe to that. We don't want to buy it. We don't want to be consumers as much as we can. We only buy essentials if we need. But yeah, I'm not subscribed to their free without advertisement. So please bear with me or pardon this intrusion. But anyway, let's go back. So the General Conference did not issue religious liberty affirmation. They did not affirm religious liberty. How much more when Sunday rest will come? Ted Wilson will be the first one to say, respect Sunday rest. He's already worshiping Trinity. So
I quote this statement will get me into trouble. I believe that every General Conference administrator who was party to that reaffirmation statement should resign immediately because they overstep their authority with catastrophic impact on the lives of innocent Adventists worldwide. I think they should resign. They no longer have our confidence. So what are the implications?
I served faithfully the church for 40 years. My conference president knows that. Those that are my supervising pastor knows that. I gave double tithes during my lifetime. My taxes will prove that. The General Conference had indeed abused not only the Trinity doctrine in 1980, but today, 2019, affirmation that we cannot use religious liberty during the pandemic. Sad. I was also one of those who lost everything, not only because they asked me to leave, but when I stayed with them, not knowing that the church is already corrupted. I know there are corruptions. I know that. But the fact that they did not extend religious liberty to those who don't want the jabs, they don't want the pricks, is so evil, immoral. Ted Wilson should not be given any ounce of support for his role in destroying many lives. He will hide under the disguise and the pretense of Seventh-day Adventism. And all those leaders, including the division leaders, your trust has been defiled. Now, I would like to add, they not only deceive you into believing that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is a remnant, but actually drinking from the wine of Babylon. They already abused their discretion, and they had benefited millions and millions. It should be investigated. The General Conference is not the voice of God since the time of Ellen G. White, when they are doing the change of the fundamental principles, when they are entertaining Trinitarian thoughts. John Harvey Kellogg was a Trinitarian late after a few weeks of being rebuked. And so we are to think for ourselves. We are to take care of ourselves. We cannot trust, you can never trust Ted Wilson, you can never trust the General Conference, never ever with a single penny. Why? Because you don't want to empower evil. You don't want to empower those who destroy religious right of the minority. So during 2019, I was disadvantaged, but they don't care about me. Who am I? I'm just a small pastor who doesn't have a voice. But I would like to agree with Dr. Conrad Vine. Ted Wilson and all the administrators of the General Conference should be held accountable. They should be investigated. They should be persecuted for what they have done to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Defund and be held accountable is my cry. Not only resign, but defund them, because we cannot put our trust, our resources, time and talent and treasure to those people who are worshiping a false God, not only worshiping a false God, but so nefarious in their thoughts and in their hearts that they would like to appear as though they are meek and humble. So I join the voice. Ted Wilson should step down and issue a public apology and return the millions to those families and victims who lost their livelihoods. And he should be held accountable, just like his father. Both of them, I hope and pray that justice will be served. If not now, the second death awaits. May God our Father continue to bless you, and his Son be gracious to you now and forevermore. Amen. Amen.